everybody, back with another instalment of the wine challenge. We're up to week 3 now, and this week we're going to be looking at French Muscadet. Now I just briefly want to touch on what we tried last week. So last week you'll remember we had a Cabernet Sauvignon all the way from Chile. Now when I was tasting it for that video, it was quite tannic, it was quite a punchy wine. But after I'd drunk some and took it into work next day and we tried it as a team, the wine had had a little bit more air in the bottle and a little bit more time to breathe. So what I found was when I tasted it the next day, it was actually a lot smoother and it was almost like tasting a completely new wine. So if you haven't finished the bottle and you've given it a little bit more time to breathe, it might be worth giving it another try and seeing the difference. So this week we've got Domaine de la Chauviniere, Muscadet, Sevre-Et, Maine. Now the Sur-Lie actually harks back to the first video that we did with the carver, and I mentioned that that carver was rested on lees, so it was aged on lees, like a fermentation process. So that's what that means. This is aged on lees as well. So it comes from the Loire region of France. It's a classic French Muscadet, and I'm quite excited to try it because I don't think I've actually tried a Muscadet before. So serving wise, this is chilled, as you do with most whites. So I actually put mine in the fridge overnight and then I took it out about 15-20 minutes ago because sometimes you can over chill wines as well and it prevents you from being able to taste all the flavours. The reason why we chill wines in the first place is to lift any kind of delicate aromas and the acidity as well. So let's give it a go. It's a beautiful noise. So I'm going to pour myself a measure and we're going to work our way through the 5 S's. Oh, that's a very healthy measure. So start by C. So this is very pale, more on the greenish scale, I would say. So that's C. Next we've got sniff. Now I'm not 100% sure what I'm getting through on the nose. Not a huge amount. Yeah, I'm not really getting much from the smell, so I'm going to swirl it. It's quite full, so I'm going to swirl it on the table. Now I'm going to sniff it again. Oh, I definitely got a little bit more out of that. It smells quite, I know it sounds a bit strange, but quite crisp. It's quite a fresh smell. I'm not getting a huge amount of fruit from it. At least no real fruits that I can pinpoint, but maybe slightly like citrusy. From the smell, I kind of get the feeling that it's got a bit of acidity to it. That's all I'm really getting from that, to be honest. So I guess now is the time to taste it. It's definitely got that little like acidity kick to it, but it's not super sharp. Okay, so that's like the first one. I've let it coat my tongue, let it coat my taste buds. Try it again. Yeah, I mean, not mega fruity. I am getting citrus though, maybe a little bit lemony. Yeah, it's very nice. It's very fresh. Noel, if you bite my toes, I swear to God. Sorry about that. Where was I? It's very refreshing. Kind of lingers a little bit on the palate, which is quite nice. But I think the best thing for me to do is to check out what I'm actually supposed to be tasting. So I've got some notes up here on my computer. So it's a French white wine using grapes from century-old vines for aroma and flavour concentration. So it's old vine, so it's pretty quality stuff. It's fresh with floral hints of white flowers on the nose, which I couldn't smell. But it's got lovely ripe lime fruit and long finish. Okay, I got the lime. I mean, obviously not really lime, but I got the citrus. And long finish, yeah, I kind of said it lingers on the palate a little bit. I get that. Muscadet is a wine for those who love less fruity wines. They're lean, green, and have a fascinating, almost saline-like quality to the taste. It's common to see these wines aged on the lees. The longer on lees, the richer the texture. Interesting. It's definitely got a slightly greenish hue to it. It's more kind of on the green scale than the orangey scale, if that makes sense. And I get what they mean by, you know, it being lean as well. It has been aged on lees, as apparently is quite common for Muscadet. But it's a very kind of refreshing drink. I really quite like it. I don't think it's the kind of wine where I would just sit there and drink the whole bottle in one sitting necessarily. Although I probably still would. but it is the kind of white wine that I can see myself sitting out in the sunshine drinking it. I think that would work really, really well as like a cold drink on a summer's day. So I did a little bit of digging to find a few different food pairings for this one. So what I came up with is what I have on this plate here. And I have to say, I'm quite proud of my presentation skills here. I've got the Garstang White, which we sell in the shop. We also have it in the bar for the takeaway cheese boards, which is a beautiful local kind of brie. I've got the apricot toasts to go with it. And Muscadet works particularly well with any kind of seafood. So you've got mussels, oysters, shrimp or prawns, your fish, things like that. So I've got some prawns with a slight overdose of paprika. That wasn't intentional. And I'm going to give it a go. So I'm going to start with the prawns. Here we go. I do think I overdid it with the paprika. That's a really nice combination. You've got the kind of a little saltiness from the prawns, from the seafood. I do get a little bit of warmth coming through from the paprika that I've put on there as well. And then that kind of balances against the sort of citrusy notes that you're getting from the wine. So it kind of all combines together because I haven't put any lemon on the prawns. It almost does that for me. Yeah, that's a winner. Next up, we have the Garstang White. I'm going to chop myself a chunk off there. Now, if you've ever had our Garstang before, you'll know that it very much varies from batch to batch, really. Sometimes, like this, it's ever so slightly more solid, which makes it a hell of a lot easier to cut and get onto your plate. And then other times you'll literally slice into it and the entire cheese just melts out. And I think that's based on the fat content of the milk that they use for it. So it depends on the time of year and the cow and so on. But it is a beautiful cheese and it's a firm favourite in the slaughtered house. So here we go. So the Garstang's really thick and rich and creamy, and the slight kind of floralness or acidity just cuts through that really nicely. And then you've got that little bit of sweetness coming from the apricots. Yeah, that's a really nice combination. Usually when I have a cheese board, I tend to go for a red wine. I don't really pair cheese with white wine as often as I think I should, actually. But this is a combination I can see myself doing again. The rind on that as well is really salty. Richness, saltiness, creaminess, a little bit of sweetness. And then this just cuts through all of that. It's really good. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. I think it's definitely going to be something that I'll go for again. I'll go for a French Muscadet again. It's got a lot of things that I like in a white wine. I like things that have a little bit of acidity. I love citrus fruits and I like the crispness to it as well. So let me know what you think, whether you liked it, didn't like it, whether you could get any of the flavours out of it that I quite clearly couldn't. Comment below, send us a response, send us your pictures, your videos, get involved. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next week, where we're going to be trying a New Zealand Pinot Noir. And as they say in France, à votre santé. Say hello, Noel. Noel was just attacking my foot.